You know how people say betrayal hurts more when it comes from someone you love? I used to believe I was living a beautiful life married to a man I adored, building a home full of dreams, but I had no idea that behind my back, the man I trusted, the most was plotting not just to leave me, but to blind me. Yes, blind me. But what they didn't know was that I had a system. A system that shocked them both. This is the story of how I uncovered their plan and turned the tables. We met in college. I was majoring in architecture. He was studying finance. We met at a coffee shop, and just like in the movies, sparks flew immediately. 6 months later, we were inseparable. 2 years later, we were married. I won't lie, it felt perfect in the beginning. We bought our first home together. We traveled. We hosted dinner parties. We had a shared journal where we wrote our dreams. I believed I had married my soulmate, but like they say, the changes started small. Late nights at work. Secretive texts. He became impatient, cold, distant. He blamed stress. I blamed myself. I tried everything: romantic dinners, handwritten notes, open conversations. He gave me empty eyes and fake smiles, but it wasn't until I saw a name pop up on his screen. Tasha, that the alarm bells screamed. Tasha, a colleague, I asked. He denied, said it was an old client he was helping with taxes. I wanted to believe him, but the gut never lies. This wasn't the first time someone tried to hurt me. I was raised by a mother who taught me, if you feel unsafe, don't panic, build a system. So I started documenting everything, every late night, every phone number. Every word he whispered. In his sleep. Yes, I even recorded our conversations. Legally. And then I installed discreet cameras around the house. Not in a paranoid way, but in a smart way. I created backup drives. One in my office, one with a friend, one in the cloud. If something were to happen to me, I wanted the world to know who and why, but I wasn't ready for what those cameras would catch. It was a Tuesday night. I had just returned from my friend Lila's house. I reviewed the footage like I always did, and then I saw it. In our living room. Him and Tasha kissing, laughing, drinking my wine. But it wasn't just the affair. It was the conversation. She whispered, "She's still healthy, right? We need her to be blind. That's the only way we get the inheritance." He laughed. "She won't see it coming, literally." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just cheating. This was a crime in motion. 6 months earlier, my uncle had passed away. He was wealthy, eccentric, and loved me like a daughter. In his will, he left me a trust fund with one condition, that I remain of sound body and mind. It was a strange clause, but now it made sense. My husband knew. He stood to inherit everything if I were incapacitated. And what better way than to blind me? Poison, acid, a staged accident. They didn't say it aloud, but the implication was clear. I didn't confront him. I played along, cooked dinner, smiled sweetly, kissed his cheek, but behind that smile, I was building my case. I recorded their next 5 MEEETUPS. Every conversation, every plan, every disgusting lie. I printed photos, backed up videos. I even hired a private investigator. He followed them, collected receipts, witnesses. I wasn't just going to expose them, I was going to bury them. One Friday night, I invited them both for dinner. Yes, Tasha too. I told them it was a thank you dinner for helping me through a hard time. They looked smug. She wore red. He acted like he was winning, and then I played the footage on the big screen, every word, their plot to blind me. Tasha dropped her fork. He turned pale, looked them both in the eye and said, "You forgot I'm not blind yet." And then 2 detectives walked in. I had filed everything. The evidence was airtight. They were arrested on the spot. It took months to process the betrayal. but eventually they were both convicted. Attempted conspiracy to commit grievous bodily harm. Fraud. They got years. I got freedom. In the trust fund. Still mine. I donated a portion of it to help survivors of domestic abuse and violence because I realized this wasn't just my story. This was the story of so many women who were gaslit, manipulated, betrayed, and left in the dark. But not me. I had a system, and it saved my life. So if you're watching this right now and your gut is whispering that something isn't right, listen. Document. Protect yourself, because love should never leave you blind. And if someone ever tries to take your light, make sure you have a system that turns theirs off first. Thank you for listening to my story. Stay smart, stay safe. And never, ever underestimate the power of a woman who refuses to be a victim. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and share if you felt this. Subscribe for more real stories and lessons from survivors.